Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you are listening to this. This is Coffee with Kevin. We're back. We actually had a little technical difficulties. We were on for about 5 minutes or so without sound. So you just got to see me move and you didn't get to hear me, which probably wasn't too good. First place. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's March 17th. Happy St. Patty's Day. I'm wishing for you the rainbow with the pot of gold at the end. All right. All right. Happy St. Patty's Day. Today, we're doing something a little different. Yes, you can see the banner behind me and talking about living your dream life. My book, the second edition, which got released last year. And I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to create little workshops on each of the chapters in there because it's so valuable, so great stuff. And today we're going to be talking about raising the bar, which is in chapter 1. So I want to just give you some of the highlights of what's in there. And that's what we're going to be doing. It's a little different than what we've been doing. So I want to talk about raising the bar. And raising the bar is basically the concept of it was actually going to be the original title of my book, Raising the Bar. And so I had thought about this in a lot of detail. I thought about the fact that hey, we don't often challenge ourselves enough. We don't often go for what we could be going for. We go for something that's much more comfortable, right? And I talk about this thing I call survival mode, and I had seen this in many people. I had seen this in so many people where they're just surviving. They live every day. They get up in the morning. Hey, they brush their teeth, they shower, they grab a cup of coffee, they sit and watch the news for a little while, and then head off to work. And then they go to work and do the same thing that they do every day long, and they take a lunch with the same people, probably having a very similar lunch every day. Come home after work, they have a dinner, sit down for dinner, then they go sit down and watch some TV, or they do the same thing every day. Go to sleep, wake up the next morning and restart. Same thing over and over. I call it survival mode. I call it let's do the things we're comfortable with and just live that way. We no longer are living like we were when we were kids, like wanting to do something, all these cool things and trying them out. And you know what? We don't. And as we grow older, it's like, okay, I know I can do this. I want to do this. And that's all I want to do. And it gets comfortable. We get comfortable in our skins. And that comfort is kind of a problem. I call complacency the abyss because it can be the abyss. We can find ourselves going through years and years of life without actually having done anything. And we look back and we say, wow, how come I didn't get to do this? Or how come I didn't get to do that? In our culture, we talk about our bucket list, you know, bucket list before we kick the bucket. We want to get the things done. We have bucket lists because we wait till part of our lives before we say, oh, let's try to get things done. Let's try to not get things done, but do these things we want to do that we haven't had the chance to do. Don't wait. Yeah, do them. Do them. You know, the metaphor of the high jump is a jumper will set the bar at a level and jump over it. Now they don't set the bar like 4.5 feet where it's really easy to just go hop, skip, and a jump. That would be real easy, and they'd be going over the bar every single time. Mm, some people like that, and they say, "Okay, I'm happy with that. I can still do that." Right? They don't wanna challenge themselves. Now, a high jumper will challenge themselves. They'll put the bar high, and if they don't make it, they figure out why they didn't make it, and they train and they practice until they can make it. Or if they don't make it, they figured out, well, that's too high for them. Maybe, physically, emotionally, mentally, they can't hit that. and they realize that, and they're not affected by it because they say, "Okay, I can't hit that. That that seems to be my limit. What else can I go for?" You know, Carol Dweck in her groundbreaking book, Mindset, talked about 2 different mindsets. One is a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset says, "Hey, I'm really good with what I do, and I don't wanna try anything else. I don't wanna deal with anything else. It's not comfortable. I don't want to, take the possibility of me not being able to do it, and I won't feel good about it." That's a fixed mindset. An open mindset says, "Hey, there's a possibility I can do this. Why don't I give it a try? Why don't I figure out how to do this?" And if it doesn't work, they learn from it and then figure out how to do it. And if for some reason it doesn't work and they find, "Hey, this just wasn't for me," it doesn't break them. They say, "Hey, this just isn't my cup of tea. I'm gonna go and do this or that." An open mindset person is like that. They don't get their self-esteem broken when they can't do something. They either figure out how to do it or they figure out, "Hey, this just wasn't for me. I thought it might have been good, but it's not." So that's the kind of thing. And we have a quote for that chapter. The opening quote in that chapter is a great quote from Michelangelo. Okay. The quote is, the greatest danger for most of us lies in not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. That's Michelangelo. It's like that is not a modern day motivational speaker here. Michelangelo, who did extraordinary things. So he realized in order to do extraordinary things, you have to set your aim too high. And he realized you're not always going to get it. You're not always going to get it. I thought that was very profound. All right. So I then talk about shifting your daily perspective. Okay. Your morning routines. What did your morning routine look like? I just talked about a typical morning routine. But, do we wake up and say, "Oh, I got to do this again. Oh, it's Monday. Oh, ho hum. This is all over again." Or do we wake up and say, "Oh, fantastic. What's going to be there for me today?" I teach this thing, and it's one of my motivational classes. I teach people, um, actually creating an anchor where they clap their hands and they say, "I feel like dynamite. I feel like dynamite. I feel like tick 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 boom dynamite." And it's a wonderful thing to bring that in. But I had a couple that was in my class and said, "Thank you very much, Kevin. My husband and I wake up every morning great. We feel like dynamite. We do that little routine." Now they took their morning routine and they said, "All right, I want to really have a spectacular day." And they set their feeling for the day like dynamite. They set it so they can have that feeling and they can have that great, great day. It's setting expectations. It's setting expectations. Treat each day as a source of both challenges and opportunities. It's expectation. If we expect, "Oh, the same thing every day," we're gonna get the same thing every day. But if we expect opportunities, I'm gonna go through this day and I'm gonna find out what opportunities will show up. Then you actually, when the opportunities do show up, and they do every day, then you'll actually recognize it. See, when we don't have that expectation, we don't usually recognize the opportunities or the great challenges that will be good for us. Psycho reality is your expectations morph into your beliefs, which eventually mold your reality. Yes, we creating our own reality from our expectations and our beliefs. So expect something. Expect something. I grew up, and on Sundays we'd have this. Oh, I can't remember it was one of those shows from one of those cathedrals and stuff like that, and they'd sing this song, about your expectations. Something good is going to happen today, and it stuck with me. It stuck with me. Wake up in the mornings and believe something good is going to happen today, and something good will. Something good will. Embrace the discomfort. And that's the thing that's stopping us, right? Let's not get out of our tracks. Let's not do something that's gonna cause us a little discomfort. That's gonna be a little bit, you know, more effort or whatever it is. We just don't wanna do that. That's what keeps us back. Embrace the discomfort. Growth requires stepping outside of your comfort zone. And once you do that enough, it becomes normal for you and you feel good and you feel that growth, by the way, you do feel that growth. Celebrate the small victories. I'm not saying raise that bar 10 feet higher than you can do today. I'm saying raise the bar an inch and then celebrate and say, "Hey, whoa, wow, this is great. I got an inch further than I had before." Celebrate the small victories, and it'll increase the small victories, and the small victories over time will become very large victories. Yeah. Yeah, you wanna do that. This is one of my favorite Zig Ziglar quotes. I quote this all the time. "Life is not easy. Life is tough, but if you are tough on yourself, you will be easier. Life will be easier on you." Tough on yourself doesn't mean beating yourself up. It means, hey, get yourself through that discomfort. It do a little bit more. Get yourself to do a little bit more. Get yourself out of your comfort zone. And it's absolutely true. When you do that, life becomes easier on you. Life becomes easier on you. I like this quote because it's really showing reality. It's not saying perceive your life to be easy. It's saying life is not easy, period. Life is tough. But if you're tough on yourself, life will be easier on you. All right, in conclusion, the summary of this chapter is you have the power. You have the power to harness your perceptions and shift the lens through which you see the world. And that's that growth mindset. That's the ability to expect opportunities, expect great things in the day. And you know what? It's never too late to reignite the spirit of, your spirit of determination. And that's what it's all about, reigniting your spirit of determination. And it's that determination that's going to get you there. I want you to perceive each day as a reservoir brimming with both challenges and opportunities. And your existence will pulse with newfound zeal. That's from my book. Perceive each day as a reservoir brimming with both challenges and opportunities. And your existence will pulse with newfound zeal. It sounds really, really good. One last tip for the day, or maybe two. One is move out of your comfort zone. You can only grow if you're willing to feel awkward and uncomfortable. Awkward. I love that. Because we're always in places where we feel awkward, right? Um, but Brian Tracy is absolutely true. Move out of your comfort zone. You can only grow if you're willing to feel awkward. That's out of your comfort zone, right? It makes you feel awkward and uncomfortable. And I do have one last for the closing. A ship in a harbor is safe. I used to use this 20, 30 years ago all the time as a metaphor, but that's not what ships are built for. Ships aren't built for just being on a dock. It's safe, granted. It doesn't go out there. It doesn't have the chance of hitting rocks if you're not navigating properly. It doesn't have the chance of sailing into storms. It's safer if a storm comes by. Most of the time, it's not. It's in a safe place. That's us. We like to be in a safe place. That's how we are as humans, but we won't grow that way. We're not built for that. We're built to grow. We're built to grow. Anyway, I want to leave you. I want to leave you with the thought that you can have a fantastic day, a great week. Just get out, you know, get out of your own way. Let yourself be a little uncomfortable. Let yourself have some awkward moments and celebrate them because you are growing. All right. Take care, everyone. This has been Coffee with Kevin. Mm, so good.